Welcome to the Abundant Life Show and the Sheila Mack Show. And here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have an interview with special guest Anna Berger. She is a true visionary in the field of subconscious mind transformation. Anna's pioneering approach, combining psychology, quantum physics, and hypnosis, offers a revolutionary way to recode our minds and eliminate emotional and physical pain caused by deep seated subconscious errors. Anna believes that by unlocking this transformative power, we can access the untapping of 95% of our minds, and often that part lies dormant. Her mission is to help individuals experience unparalleled freedom and fulfillment. So fasten your seatbelts as we explore mind transformation with Anna Berger and discover how to unlock the full potential of your mind. All right, welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I like to start off each show by asking about a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Oh, gosh, tough situations. When you're obviously, you would know that when you're in business, a lot of the times, and I guess from early age when I was getting into the business world, it was all about hustle, 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 and learning and driving this boat. And in fact, my background a long time ago was in construction. So somebody at the age of 23 told me that you're a female, you're too young, there's no way that you're going to make it. Now, I spent my 15 years, next 15 years, proving that person wrong. And it was like red flag to a bull. Let me show you. So it was really hard work, but I built a business to about $250 million.
Wow.
So, did we have a lot of ups and downs? Absolutely. But what I've discovered later on is what actually creates those up and downs and how to change them. So, yeah.
So what creates those up and downs?
Well, so my biggest downfall was when I attracted somebody. In fact, it was one of my lawyers who stole my business when I would build it to this massive value. So, when you talk about going down the hill and then you have to, get yourself up and dust yourself off, I stopped and I thought, no, this is just crazy. It cannot possibly be this hard. Like, why is it always this up the hill battle? And I took time out and I started studying. We all sort of hear about this law of attraction, and it's like, how on earth did I attract a person like this? And I started studying this, and I've discovered subconscious mind. Now, when I said discovered, obviously I didn't discover, it was already there, but it was like how the beliefs that we have in our mind literally dictates the experiences that we have in our life. And that just absolutely blew my mind. I got absolutely obsessed. And what really got me obsessed about this work, and we're talking about 15 years ago now, was that I have learned that the subconscious mind, it's like a self-learning computer, and it's pretty much coded by the time you're 7 years old.
Yes.
And when I discovered this, Sheila, I had 7 and 8-year-old girls at that age. And I looked at them and I thought, okay, your mom has just spent 17 hours a day working in a business, and I wasn't even there. What are the codes that got into the subconscious mind of my children? And I just got obsessed in like, I got to reverse this. How do I reverse this? So that's what actually got me onto this journey. And then it was just one aha after another aha after another aha. And now I just want everybody to know how powerful the subconscious mind is.
Yes, that is incredible. And how I mean, I've heard about this and I always think, okay, what else can I put in there to make it easier? And what do I need to focus on versus, if we're thinking about the news and all this junk going on, we're focusing on this negative and more of it shows up. So how do we turn that around? And I would love to know how, like, I need the upgrade like everybody does for 2024. It's the perfect time. Download, upgrade, whatever you want to call it. How does this work, Anna?
Yeah, awesome question. And it's interesting that you use the word upgrade, Because the thing is, like, I've got a phone here, right? On the phone, we literally get instructions here every 2 or 3 months. Press a button, upgrade your system, upgrade the algorithm. What we don't realize is the mind, the subconscious mind. We were born with one. So the second you're conceived, you're getting subconscious mind. Most people don't even know it exists, and it literally codes from the second you're conceived. It codes. So any stresses that your parents had, copy paste, it just goes into the subconscious mind. And it's a protective mechanism that helps you survive. So, initially, and it's sort of like AI. Everybody right now gets excited about all these AI tools that we have, the chat GPTs and all of that.
Right.
What we don't realize is we were born with one, and it is super powerful. So it will code, and anything. So whatever the great thing about it is it's super powerful. The negative thing about it is it assumed from day one that everything that we've arrived to was perfect. Right? So if you start those kind of prompts that everything that I'm seeing is absolutely perfect, it will create your new life. So by the time you're 7 years old, it actually sets you on the path. So if within the first 7 years, you had parents that watch television, and television, as we know, it's all about drama because drama sells.
Right.
And there's a lot of fear. That fear gets coded into the subconscious mind, because subconscious mind is all about protection. So you will be on the lookout, constant lookout of what else could possibly go wrong. So how do you change it? You ask the question. There is a way that you can upgrade it. Now, that took me about 15 years to figure this out by studying just any modalities to do with the subconscious mind. So I started initially with, I was quite curious because I've always been into personal development. So I started with the basic things like the neuro-linguistic programming and the walk on fire, and like, I'm determined, I'm going to set up goals, New Year's resolution to the extreme. But what I found is eventually, and as we know, you get New Year's resolution, you start doing things, and then after a little while, there's just something that's pulling you back. Subconscious is like it's got almost like a rubber band, like an elastic band. And it's like Sheila decides, okay, I'm going to go and venture into this business. If the subconscious doesn't think it's safe, okay, it will just entertain it for a little while. It's like, all right, off you go and check it out, and we go on this new path, and we're going to do this. And then it gets harder and harder and harder, and eventually something happens. You either lose money, you're meet somebody that does something wrong by you, or you get unwell, go back to status quo. How many of us have actually gone through that, where we, if you're very determined, you'll be pushing through and I work with a lot of overachievers that are just exhausted from working too hard, right?
Right.
So what needs to happen is we need to physically go into the subconscious mind and figure out what is the error code that's causing this. Because our whole experience of everything that we're seeing in the world is simply a confirmation of something that we already know. And what we already know got in as a child. Now, most of the time we think, okay, if we have a problem, we sort of go, okay, what's the new resolution? What am I going to do different? What do I need to concentrate on? What can I change? Sure, I can tell you right now, when I do a search for the subconscious mind, and I'm talking about successful person, we find anywhere between 400 to 600 error codes. So, if you're fixing one problem at a time, you're going to be under construction for the next 40 years. And it's just simply, most of the time, it's trying something new, and it's like, it's not working. Trying something new, people go on diets. Why don't they work? Because it is coded in a subconscious mind that it's unsafe for you to do that, which is really weird, right? Because we think, okay, well, it's safe to be healthy.
Right.
Subconscious mind think, no, it's not. Okay, and it's just a code that got in when you were a child, and now we're dealing with this over and over and over again. So the most important thing is to align the subconscious mind to the new you. To like, if we were operating a phone, let's assume that they did exist when we were children. Okay, they didn't, but let's just assume they did. If we were operating on the same operating system that when you were 7 years old, that thing wouldn't really work that well, right?
It would not be good.
That's it. So the whole idea is to go in, find out what are the error codes. rather than just waiting for the problem to happen and then try to address it and say, well, I've got this
Mhm.
I need to address. It's not just a habit. There's lots and lots of error codes around that particular thing that's not working. So rather than just simply concentrate on, okay, New Year's resolutions, let's come up with all these new goals and this is what I'm
Right.
going to achieve. If you have tried it before and it didn't work, there's a reason. And it's reason because the subconscious is like a handbrake on. It's like, nope, you're not going to do it. You might go for a little while. And after a little while, it gets harder and harder and harder. And the subconscious mind goes, yep, come back to status quo. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Very good. So, I'd love to hear now, how do you, help people to reprogram that mind? How does that work?
Yeah. So what we do, I've started running 5-day challenges. So it's 1 hour per day. And
Mm,
I teach people how the mind actually works. So the subconscious mind, if I can just give you a metaphor, our thinking mind, which is what we make decisions with, and we create goals and try to achieve things. That's our conscious mind.
right.
Subconscious, the power between one and the other. If I could give you a visual, this one is like a bicycle. This
Mhm.
one is like a bullet train. And if they do not align and they connect it, if
Yes.
one wants to go this way and the other one goes, nope, that's not safe, I'm going to put a handbrake on or go a different direction, you got no hope. So the whole idea, so with the 5-day challenge, what I do is I take the jargon of the neuroscience uh, of quantum physics, of psychology, of probably different 50 about different modalities that teach about the subconscious mind, and I just make it simple, super, super simple, so anyone can understand this is how your mind works. So in the
Mhm.
5 days, day one, I teach you exactly how the mind works, okay, how the subconscious mind works using metaphors like bicycle and a bullet train. Okay, so anyone can understand. In fact, we've introduced programs for children right now, so an 8-year-old can actually understand this. If an
Mm,
8-year-old can understand, anyone can understand. So day one, we'll teach about how the subconscious operates and how it affects your health. So
mhm.
not just health in a physical term, because anything that happens to us on a physical term, subconscious directs it. Subconscious is in charge of our biology.
Wow.
And we might think, okay, yes, we caught a cold, or we caught, there's something, headache happens. We think about these things happening or catching from the outside. No, it's a subconscious that actually creates this experience for you. So, like, let's say when you have your body in fight and flight response, which, if you listen to the news all the time, uh, you probably are in fight and flight response. And this is why we have seen what we have seen over the last 3 years
Yes.
is our body's in constant fight and flight. It's like, I gotta run. All these things are coming at me. I gotta run. Okay. When the subconscious mind puts all the energy into the running away from something, there is no immune system. Immune system
Mhm.
does not operate. This is why we're all getting sick.
Mhm.
So the whole idea is, how do you get the body into relaxing? And this is not, we're not talking meditation. Meditation is just simply taking, if you're driving a car and you're pushing it too hard, meditation is like taking the foot off the pedal, just relaxing it. Okay. Yes, it's very, very good for you. Will
Mhm.
it release the handbrakes? Nope. Okay. So what we do for this program, I'll show you how it affects your health, how it affects your mental health, how it affects, the things, the fulfillment. You know how people just constantly search for purpose. How is that affected? So this is what we cover.
Oh,
Second day, we talk about wealth creation. Why some people really struggle with making money, or
yes.
or if they invest in something, they lose money. Why? There is a reason behind it. Again, it's on a subconscious level. We talk about relationships between humans. Why? Like, there is a whole bunch of different manipulations that subconscious is using. Like, when
Mhm.
we go for this program every single day, it's like, wow, so many aha, like, it's just blowing my mind. Things like, have you ever been guilt tripped to
Well,
do
I
something?
try not to let that happen, but yes, there's been people that have tried, yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
So guilt tripping, for example, is a subconscious manipulation. These people don't even realize they do it. But
I
there is a certain way that we react to it. Now, most people don't know this stuff, except for probably 1% of people, and they usually utilize it for marketing to sell you
Mhm.
stuff that you don't need, right? Or in government, people who have been really, really well trained in this, that is used for manipulation. But if you
Mhm.
really understand how your own mind works, you can protect yourself from that. So, human manipulations, we will talk on day 4 about relationships. If your love life is not at the, ecstasy level, there is a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. If, let's say, for example, you've had, one relationship didn't work and you try another one, a lot of people get to the point where they so blame themselves for things that are going wrong in their life. What they don't realize is the subconscious is driving it. All we
Mm,
have to do is just go in, look into it, change the codes. And on
mhm.
day 5, I teach about the communication with subconscious. Subconscious is literally like a genie in a bottle. They can get you anything you want. The only thing is that the instructions that it often gets are opposite to what we want in our life. So
Right.
typical affirmations, goal settings are actually, they work on a negative.
Mhm.
Perfect example, if do you think of yourself as a problem solver?
Um,
A lot of business people do.
maybe. I think I'm more of a connector,
Yeah, connector's great.
solver.
Now, yeah, this is, I did a preparation for a TED talk recently, and that's the first question that I ask on stage. Who here is a great problem solver? And you get everybody putting their hand up because we get business people, so everybody's great in problem solving. Now, my question is, what do you think the life has to give you in order for you to prove that you're a good problem solver?
You'd have to have a lot of problems.
That's exactly right.
I
Let's
like to connect people that have their own problems. That's good, I'm glad.
right? So yeah,
Right.
connecting is great, but always we have to think about the language that we use is
Yeah.
different for the subconscious. Subconscious doesn't see it
Mm,
the same way we do, and we use very abstract language.
yes.
So, like let's say we say things like, I am healing. I hear this all the time, Sheila. I am healing. What the subconscious mind is getting is, I have to give you something to heal from. I have
Mm,
to bring you this stuff into your life so you can feel like you're healing. You're in a constant process of healing. It is, yeah, it's quite insane. But once you actually learn it, it's very like the initial people who go for the program, the initial thing is like, wow, wow. And a lot of parents, like I know I was absolutely mortified when I discovered this because I'm like, oh my gosh, I was one of these, overachieving parents and I thought I was a great parent. And then I've discovered all the different codes that were going into my children, like, constantly, pushing them to achieve the best. You sort of think, yeah, I want my children to do really well. And, you can do better than that. Come on, you can do this. Okay. The
right.
codes that go into the children is, I'm not good enough.
Oh my.
Right now, when you leave with a code that says, I am not good enough, and by the way, probably 99.999% of people in the world actually have that code, I am not good enough,
Mm,
you will be living your whole life trying to prove yourself, trying to say why you need to, go do more and do more. Now, when I look back to when I was running a construction company, I built a whole business because I was trying to prove somebody wrong. Like,
uh,
seriously, that's
yes, I hear
that's
you.
not why. I mean, I did have fun and I made a lot of money, but man, it was such a hard work. It was like an up the hill, battle, and it was constant. We used to use the words like, it's a man's world, or it's a, dog in dog industry. Like when I think about it right now, no wonder it was so hard. But one of
Mm,
the things that I really want to install in humans is life is simple, easy, and fun. And if
yeah.
you install it in the subconscious mind and the subconscious comes on board with that idea, guess what's going to
Excuse my dog. Apparently, we have a gardener that's in the yard. I'm gonna just shut the door one
happen? Of
moment.
course.
So let me just do that. Hang on. Oh my. The gardener kicked it in. I mean, it's like a holiday weekend here. I don't know why they're here. But anyway, I'm at my vacation home and they have this the gardeners are part of the community, so it's not something I can control. Uh, anyway, I what I find that's very interesting is the programming you were talking about. I was raised primarily by grandparents. Like, my grandmother was born in 1908.
Yeah,
And so and all these elders now, she was a business owner, and a lot of the women in her circle that would come over for tea were all women business owners. They were very feminine. They ran the company using who they were.
beautiful.
And they're feminine. They didn't have to pretend to be a man or be all masculine, and they owned those companies and were very successful. And so for me, when I went to run my businesses, I was like, "Of course I can run a business." I mean, like, isn't that what women do?
That's
And
perfect.
and
See?
and how do you people would say, "I lost my feminine in the work world," and I'm like, "How did you lose your feminine? I didn't lose mine." Like, and it was the programming
Yeah.
that I
And
received.
yeah,
Definitely.
and you're absolutely lucky that actually something like that has happened. Like I work with a lot of very, very successful people. And prior to writing the book, I used to coach like massive businesses. And they would usually call me in when they hit the glass, what they call a glass ceiling. And it's like, I only made $20 million. I can't do it. So they would call me to
Yeah.
fix the business. But I would really quickly realize it's not the business; it's up here that's stopping it. So it's like a thermostat. But what I found really interesting is women in business. A
Mm,
lot of women who are quite successful take on masculine energy. That is so
yeah.
harmful to their own health and to the relationships around them. They don't even realize that they think they need to be very masculine, and it's not something that they do consciously. It's coded in childhood. It could be simply that you have an older sibling who happens to be a brother, and
Mhm.
he can do things that you're not allowed to do. Now, subconscious might figure out that the reason why he can do things, it's not because you're younger, it's because he's a boy. It's
Right.
like, oh, boys are allowed this, so I need to become a boy. Or even parents sometimes when they're expecting a child and like, hope it's a boy. Okay,
Yeah.
guess what the subconscious mind will do? Automatically will take on masculine energy. So it really fits in and finds exactly what it is that's required and it will fit in. And that creates your whole character. So
Mm.
yeah,
Is very interesting. And, the way I've worked with raising my children, I have 6. I adopted 3 of my own. So this big family, and everybody's so different. And they're coming the children that have come from different homes into our life that were fostered to adopt, they had different programming. And so it's like to be aware of that and slowly to make that shift. And where you can where my some of the kids, like, you can love yourself, you can go in the mirror and not pick at yourself. Or
yeah,
if you have a bad grade, all right, well, we can work on it. What can we learn from this? How can we make it better? But it's not about you as a person. It's
yeah,
about what, because there's gaps in the education, especially coming from that realm where they may have missed entire grades, years of school, because they were moved around so much. So how do we catch them up? And I would catch the kids up with tutoring, and we were able to provide tutors. And a year later, it was like a completely different person that showed up, because they could fill in what they missed. It wasn't that they were that, like, one of them would say, "Oh, I'm not very smart." No, no, you're actually, now he speaks like 5 different languages
yeah,
and is quite a little genius. But it was that block, and he was told he wasn't very smart. The
yeah,
teacher would say, "Oh, well, you're in the not so smart," and I was like, "This kid is really smart. This is just an area he missed." So there's
yeah,
a big difference. And if you're a parent listening in, this is huge. It's not even just for your success, for your children. It can be night and day. That I can understand for sure.
100%. And just See, what he had is just somebody that believed
Mm,
in him. And it's and sometimes that makes a huge shift. Now, if the coding from a child is "I'm not good enough,"
yeah.
might be able to push through certain things, but this is always going to be a little bit of a handbrake. So one of the
Mhm.
things that we do in the 5-day challenge, we actually extract, like I take people through a process where we extract the beliefs that we have. And this is not on a conscious level. It's like subconsciously, what's the fast answer to different questions? And we pick up what are the codes, and I show people exactly how to reverse them and how to insert them back on a subconscious level, not
Mm,
just simply looking in the mirror and say, "Hey, I'm great." Because when we use affirmations and looking in the mirror, it's like, "I'm fantastic, I'm fantastic." All we're going to do is just have an argument in the head, because this
oh,
little character is going to go, "No, you're not, and you didn't do this properly. You've got this self judgment." What we do is I use hypnosis, but I actually teach you how you become your own hypnotherapist rather than
mhm.
somebody feeding you a fish. It's like, learn how to fish, learn how your own mind works, so you can bypass the conscious mind and insert it in the subconscious. The second you insert it and you reverse it, suddenly your experience of life just changes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Um,
and with children, gosh, and especially with fosters, well done, for doing what you're doing, which is fantastic. I work with a lot of people that like there's certain charities where they actually help children like that, and it's just so important that they get the full recode, so life just becomes much easier for them. Because
mhm,
when you go through life with a belief that, and they could have just been a sibling that said, "Hey, you're stupid," right?
right.
Kids just sort of pick on each other, especially when you have, grow up in a family where there's lots of cousins or siblings, or parents don't pay attention to you. That's it. I'm unlovable. I'm not
Mm,
worthy of your time. I'm not this. I'm not this. And just all of these things go in. And then the subconscious mind simply creates what I call just different masks, which means you have to show up in life in a certain way to protect yourself.
mhm,
So, I take people for a mask assessment where there's 21 different masks that subconscious chooses.
mhm.
This is why, by the way, why all siblings will always be different.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they might, even if they grew up in the same family,
Completely.
yeah, all different.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because subconscious needs to be significant. Subconscious is like,
Mm,
how do I stand out? Because for subconscious mind, being loved and belong are like two driving forces.
yeah.
And if suddenly you're a part of a family, the subconscious mind is like, I need to be loved. If I'm not loved and don't belong, they're not going to feed me and I'll die. That's how the
Mhm,
subconscious mind thinks. So
mhm.
everything that gets coded is like, how do I fit in? How do I fit in? So if you've got one child that's super smart, second one arrives, it's like, I can't compete with Johnny. Johnny's so super smart. Maybe I become really good at sports.
Mm,
Maybe I become a bit of a comedian. Maybe, there's a different ways of being able to, hey, shine the light on me. Okay. And this is not a conscious thing, it's totally subconscious, but that actually creates your whole character. So the way that we experience life, 100% of it is based on the codes that we have. Like,
mm,
we live in the same world, and your experience of life and my experience, if we have 5 million people here right now listening,
right.
every single person experiences life in a different way, and
Mm,
they experience it based on the beliefs that they have, which I call codes. I call them codes because when we think belief, we sort of think, oh yeah, I can change that belief. 28 days, whatever they tell you that it's going to take to change your belief. Sometimes you can, but most of the time, if you haven't done it so far, there's a chance there's a handbrake. And
mhm.
if you go in and change that error code, it will constantly keep on coming up. So you'll be driving, suddenly this car's going to go back and forth. So
Right.
it's really important to just go back, figure it all out. And this is why I've studied psychology, to just work out exactly what are the things,
Mm,
from attachment theories, from a whole bunch of different psychological issues that we could have potentially had as children. What
mhm.
are the trigger points? What do we change? What are the beliefs that we change? And then insert it in the subconscious mind. And it's just in one shot. So it's not and it works literally overnight. So it's not a matter of, I'm going to work on something for years and years and years. It's like, once you change that, the new experiences that are coming to your life is to prove this one correct.
Mm,
Makes
that's
sense?
so good. So
Yeah.
now what was your life like before you discovered all this and applied it on yourself and then started sharing with other people and now? Like what was the difference that occurred for you?
Yeah. Do you know one of the things, like when I started studying these, I look back at my childhood and I thought that was pretty cool. Like, my parents, they didn't get divorced, well, not back then. It seemed like a really, really good way of growing up. But then when I started digging into it a little bit more, I grew up in a family where you have very high standards. Okay,
Mhm.
it's like you have to perform constantly. My mum was a businesswoman, and she was quite famous. So there was this huge expectation. You're not
Right.
telling anybody about your life, and it's like you have to prove that you're part of this family. And I remember, I don't know if I was 12 years old, maybe 10 years old, and I came back with an exam and I got 100%, and I was so proud of myself. And I ran back, and I'm like, Mom, look, 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 I got 100%. And her response, I kid you not, was, I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Mm.
Can you imagine the
Oh,
feeling that you
wow.
get, right? But these are the two codes. Okay, now you're asking about what was it like being me before all of this. I was very, very driven.
Yeah.
Okay, because the makeup was, in order to be loved, I have to perform at the highest level. Now, even if you get to 100%, there's no fulfillment. There's no stopping and pat on the back. This is why I built this massive company
Mm.
in 15 years, from zero to $250 million. Like, we built 4,500 homes, and I was just constantly work, 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 work. And it's like I didn't even stop for a second to recognize what I have done. It's like sacrifice everything just to do this, because
Mm.
that was my idea of the only way that I can belong and I am loved is if I do that. Masculine energy, just really pushing, pushing, and it was really hard work. Now, when I've discovered this, first of all, what I did was concentrate on changing into feminine energy, female energy, and just really, being more true to myself and strip all those masks. It's like, okay, I don't need to be so driven. Now, does it mean it's going to stop you from being driven? No. The female energy can be very, very powerful.
Right.
And you can still build massive businesses, but you'd not be doing it. So before learning this, I was building all the businesses just to prove myself
Mm.
worthy to the world. Okay, whereas right now I do it because it's so much freaking fun. Like, I
Right.
absolutely love it. I love the fact that it makes a big difference in the world, and it's more from a feminine energy where
Mhm.
you're loving, you're caring. There's not a competition. The
Right.
first world is real competition based. Right now, it's all about collaboration. It's all about, hey, let's do this, let's play with that. And you're
Mm.
working from a space of, I don't actually need anything to be happy. Like, I am happy without starting without doing anything. And then from that space, I'd like to play with this. I'd like to play with that. I'd like to, and just really expand on your life. So you're not trying to lose weight because you
Mhm.
you need to look a certain way in order for you to love yourself. It's like, I love myself the way that I am, but I'd love to play with that. I'd love to see what it's like to do
Mm.
this. I'd love to see what it's like to walk up on a big stage and speak. I'd love to see what it's like to experience speaking TED Talk. I'd like to go and experience what it's like to speak on Sheila Show. I'd like to see what so you're not doing anything because you have to. There's
Right.
none of that pressure. That's so liberating. Like, I can't tell you the difference. And obviously it just fixes your relationships, fixes your,
Mhm.
love relationships. It just fixes everything. It's like,
Yeah.
life becomes easy, simple, and fun.
That's
That's my
beautiful, and I can only imagine, and this is my guess, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, that as you made that shift, it really blessed your children.
Oh gosh, I can. I mean, like I said, this was the reason why I got so obsessed with this, was because I know what damage I've done unconsciously by
Mhm.
being this super achieving parent, and I was putting the same thing that my parents put into me. It's like, gotta do this, gotta do that. By being, and I was seeing my daughter, like one of my daughters, when she became a teenager, started put on weight and started to, it's like I hate myself, or my friends are, don't love me anymore, and all this. She was going for that, and I'm like, come here, let's work on this. Let's do the recode. And literally within 2 months, lost the weight, started to, I mean, her social life is just insane. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So many different, so being able to see the shift in children, massive.
Mm.
By simply recoding myself to start with, it just changes everything. It's sort of
Yes.
like any relationship, I sort of look at it as a dance,
Mhm.
and if one person changes the steps, there is a bit of a wobbly bit in between, but then
Yeah.
the other person readjusts, and
That's
suddenly,
right. That's right. It's like
suddenly,
I go to this incredible other thing that's more like chiropractic energy with Donnie Epstein, and we talk about the energetics and the entrainment. And when you're getting worked on, your children, even if they don't even live with you anymore, are getting worked on in a way. And because it does, it connects to everyone. And so whether you want to do your reprogram or upgrade your mind as a business leader, we're the ones that set the stage for how the business goes. And if the leader has these adjustments, it goes to all the employees. If it's that you are a parent or running a business working with clients, the clients are going to feel the difference. And I
absolutely,
totally believe this. That is incredible.
yeah, it
Definitely
makes
do my upgrade.
you just get goosebumps, right? No, but it is. I mean, when you think about it, from quantum physics perspective, we're all energy.
Mm,
Everything is just energy, and I know that's for a lot of. And look, I've worked with a lot of business people, so you start talking to them energy, start talking about mindset, or it's like it's woo woo stuff. This
mhm.
is why I've studied quantum physics, so I can explain to them the science behind it. And when they actually realize, oh, there's actually science, let me just listen. And that's why this work attracts a lot of very intelligent people. So we have, psychologists training with us. We've got quantum physicists that are training with us. And they're like, wow, because when you think about it, if you just study psychology, it's very linear.
Mhm.
When you just study quantum physics, it's very abstract and it's sort of linear in a certain way. What I have done is rather than spending 7 years studying this and 10 years studying that, I I apply the same way that I've built my business to this, to
Mhm.
studying this. Simply track down the best person in the world that specializes in certain thing. So if
Right.
let's say, for example, I want to learn about childhood trauma, I go and track down the best doctor in the world that deals with it on a daily basis, pay them whatever they ask me to pay them, and study with them and learn what are the shortcuts. What are the shortcuts with quantum physics? What are the shortcuts in psychology? What are the shortcuts in hypnosis? So I've learned all of that, collected, and then I've just looked at it and connected the dots because I was dealing with business people who don't have time to speak about the problem for the next 25 years. It's like, fix it for me right now.
That's right.
But you're absolutely correct. One person, I mean, I have witnessed, so used to be called in by the owner of a company, would call me to help with the business. The fact that I had experience in growing a massive business, that sort of allowed me to walk in as a business consultant. But I
Yes.
knew from the second I walk in, I knew there's nothing wrong with the business. Okay, business, somebody who built a business to 5 million, they know how the business works.
Mhm.
It's not lack of knowledge. It's just simply there has to be an energetic shift on the subconscious level. And to be able to actually see somebody go from, like, I mean, I've worked with some people who are super narcissistic and it's just like, this is my company,
Uh,
this way,
right.
very regimental, to suddenly shift into a different energy. And suddenly everybody just loves working there. And the person's like, I don't know what you just did, but it's working. So it was quite incredible. But yeah, it makes a big impact on the whole world. And I think that if everybody learned their own power, the own power of the subconscious mind,
Mm,
and shifted it, that is how we're going to heal the world. We're not
that's
going to heal the world by arguing who's right, who's wrong, should we be on this side or on that side. Okay. Understanding how the subconscious mind works, you will never persuade somebody to be in a different way
mhm.
because of the millions of experiences they've had in the subconscious mind. Subconscious will not allow them to. They might, for a second, I might say, yes, you're right. Okay. Because if, let's say, for example, if we're talking about something and you've got a really good argument and I can't speak well enough, I'm like, okay, you're right. But in my mind, my subconscious mind's going to be going, that's incorrect. Error code,
Mhm.
error code, error code, which means I'm going to be building resentment.
Yes.
And this is why we see what we're seeing in the world. If we
Mhm.
all just simply look inside and go, hey, let me just upgrade and upgrade it in a way that suits
Right.
you the way that you are right now, your whole lifestyle. And stop chasing things because we were told that we have to do that in
Right.
order to feel love, but do it because there's no longer any masks that you need to hide underneath. And
Mm.
just do it from fulfillment, from joy, from like this energy that fuels us. And some people believe in science, some people believe in religion, some people believe like, but when you really study all of that, okay, whether it's energy, whether it's God, whether it's you, call it whatever you want to call it, we are being powered by something. Okay, it's not us who decides when to switch the light on and off.
Mhm.
When we are born and when we die. Okay, so there's something that's fueling, that's actually playing through us. Now,
Yes.
the only thing what stops this absolute fulfillment and being able to play at next level is the subconscious mind. Subconscious
Mhm.
mind goes, because this energy has to go through the subconscious mind, and subconscious mind goes, yeah, but you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do this, and you're not this, you're not do this, shuts it down. Okay, which means this energy just comes through and goes, well, all right. So, the,
Right.
the experience of life is nowhere near what we could experience. You
Yeah.
learn how to relax the subconscious mind, get all these programs out of the way to allow this energy to play, and this world becomes a better place.
Mm.
Things like emotional pain, they don't
Mhm.
need to exist. And by the way, physical pain, speak to any doctor and they'll tell you 95% or 98%, all the problems they see stuck with stress.
Wow,
Stress
yeah.
is emotional. Emotions are driven by the subconscious mind. You
Mhm.
let it by the subconscious mind and you can fix everything on the outside world.
So true. So I'd love to hear, how people could get started with your challenge. What does the challenge entail? How does it work? How would you sign up for that?
You can go to the website, which is quantummindacademy.com,
Okay.
and just scroll down. It says 5-day challenge. You can join. Normally, the challenge, I started the challenge for $97, which is a ridiculous price, but I want everybody to be recoded. Now, any of your listeners, so anyone from here, if you just put in code ANAS, guest,
Mhm.
ANNAS,
Uh-huh.
guest,
Yes.
in capitals, you'll get in for free. Okay,
Oh,
so I'm happy to just give it away for free
uh-huh.
so people can actually get recoded and really get to experience life on the next level. My goal is to recode this year or next 12 months is to recode 10,000 minds. So
Yes.
whoever wants to get recoded, just learn this stuff. This is life changing for any leader, for any parent, for anybody. Like most of the the testimonials that I get is like, oh, I wish I knew this earlier, or I
Mhm.
wish somebody introduced it at school. Like right now, we've got programs that we're looking at introducing at schools. This stuff really is. I mean, parents before they become parents, they should go through the recode and understand how the subconscious mind works so
Yes,
they don't do the damage that we do to the kids right now. It's
definitely.
like it's interesting. You can get licensed to, do dogs' haircuts, license to become a hairdresser, but you don't have license to become a parent.
We
Right. This,
wouldn't have many kids in the world in that case. That's for sure. That is so
it's pretty powerful.
yes. Well, that is wonderful, Anna. So we just go to quantummindacademy.com, and
Mhm.
there you can sign up for this challenge, and I will be in the challenge. So that is going to be so exciting. I'm ready to upgrade and up level. Now you're in Australia and
Yes.
I'm in the United States. So you are already ahead of us. Are you in the new year yet there? Or
Almost. Yeah, almost in
okay.
we definitely live in the future. Let me
Yeah.
just tell you the dates for the next one. I do them once a month.
Okay.
Okay, and it's usually sort of around the 8th. So in US it will be it's usually Monday to Friday.
Okay.
And I try to do them extremely early here in Australia, so it still catches the US and European, because we've got students coming from all over the world. So,
Right.
but yeah, so the 5 day challenge, I'll give you a link to it if you want to utilize the link. It will take you directly to the sign up page. And like I said, if you put in Anna's guest, you can come and do it for free.
Wonderful.
1 hour per day, 5 days will absolutely change your life. You're going to love it.
Outstanding. A great way to kick off the new year. Thank you again, Anna, for being a guest on the show. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages. All right, stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you.